Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dose of Common Sense. Now, if common sense is supposed to be so damn common, well, how come it seems like nobody has it? And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dose of Common Sense for Monday, August 1st. Excuse me, Tuesday, August 1st. Welcome to that calendar read. Jesus. Well, that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to do is apologize to you. Apparently, on the last couple of episodes, we have not been able to put the rundown onto the show description for the simple fact that right now we have a technical error in between our recording application and the podcast platform. Hopefully, we will have that smoothed out within the next couple of days. So please excuse me for not putting the ton and a half worth of notes underneath the episode description. Or if you want them gone, leave me an email. Anyway, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's good and relaxed. This ain't going to be a long one, but I might go on a rant or two. So the very first thing up is we have a Galaxy Note 8 front leak. Now, for those of you who have paid attention to all the articles having to do with the Galaxy Note 8, everybody's seen the rear of this phone. Ooh. In case you haven't, though, it is a dual camera sensor on the back, right next to the fingerprint scanner. For the love of God, why? And then it's got its usual flash, and then the heart rate scanner for those of you who do not own a smartwatch with a heart rate monitor or a gear. But here's a clue. Here's a quick little spoiler for those of you who have not seen this picture of the Galaxy Note 8 yet. By the way, the color that we were shown was midnight black. Thank you, EvLeaks. I appreciate that. So if you've seen the Galaxy S8 and the Galaxy S8 Plus, take that screen, put it to about 6.3 inches, okay, and box it up. It is almost no bezel whatsoever, and of course it's a little bit larger than the Galaxy S8 Plus. However, it is a little boxier than the Galaxy S8 or the S8 Plus, but of course it's supposed to be because it's a Note. Now, it does come with a stylus as well, and it will come with several spare tips. And please, let's do not put the stylus in backwards. Don't even check it, okay? For those of you who own or have owned the Note 5, you know what I'm referring to. Don't stick that finger. It'll get stuck there. So, do me a favor, if and when you do get this phone, spare yourself some trouble and don't stick the stylus in backwards. Even if you're drunk. You will hate yourself the next day if you do. Trust me, I happen to be one of those people. So let's go first up on this particular list. This might get off to a rant somewhat early, and I will explain why right off the bat. So most of us that are in the media business, that are not in the legitimate media business, those that are tech nerds and tech bloggers and quote-unquote tech journalists, we dabble in YouTube from time to time. And yes, we do monetize it because that's how we make a living. That's how a lot of tech blogs make a living, actually. So, this particular story kind of pissed me off, and I'm going to be right honest with you, and if somebody has an objection with me not putting an explicit tag, well, deal with it. So, University of Central Florida, and I'm sorry to say this happens to be my wife's alma mater. University of Central Florida and the NCAA, I have an issue with you right now. So you have someone in college, and they're a football player, and they're a damn good football player. And they happen to have a YouTube channel that's called Destroying, Deestroying. The gentleman's name is Donald D. LaHaye. So he has over 90,000 subscribers. And he's amassed 5 million views. Now, guys, before you pile on the BS bandwagon, I'm going to tell you this right now. And I'm not going to go into specifics because, number one, I have a YouTube channel. And number two, even though I'm not monetizing it at the moment, that doesn't preclude me from possibly doing this in the future. Right now, I'm doing this for you. So, to make the long and the short of it, for every 1,000 videos, depending on how long they've amassed watching them, you get approximately $3. So take that 1,000 for $3, okay? Take 3 times, let's go as high, and let's say 600, okay? Now, I do not know how long he has had this particular YouTube channel, but I will say this, it is not a lot of money. It might pay for some equipment, it might pay for some of the time that this person has taken to shoot this particular video. But they more or less do it for public consumption, and if they make a little money off of it, so be it. Now, given the fact that his channel's name is Destroying, and it's not named something like Tech Files or Tomcat, sorry, my man, have to point you out, or Austin Evans or Jonathan Morrison, it's not any one of the major YouTubers that you have. And you're going to cost this guy not only a career and millions of dollars, but you're going to cost this guy a living. Are you effing kidding? Wake up. Y'all need to seriously wake up. This gentleman is trying to have a career in football, make some money for himself and possibly his family in the future, and y'all are going to take it away because he has a YouTube channel. You're effing kidding. Welcome to Dumbville, population 1. That would be you, whoever made the decision in the NCAA, and that would be you, who's ever in the University of Central Florida. Screw y'all. Next. That's all I'm going to say about that, because otherwise I am going to break the explicit tag, and I would apologize for that one in advance. Next, on the Windows front, yes, there is something actually on the Windows front, but it's not all that great. Okay? So Hewlett-Packard came out a long time ago and released something called the Elite X3. And this had Windows 10 on it, for whatever that is worth at this particular point. I hope they fixed it. I really do. But from what I've spoken to with some people, that answer would be no. Anyhow, Amazon has discounted it again in the UK. And this one puts it all the way down to £459. So it was $549. Before that, it was $649. Before that, it was almost $800. So if you happen to be interested in a Windows phone, which I sincerely hope, and I don't want to be mean when I say this, I sincerely hope that either improve the platform or let it die. And I don't think Microsoft is going to improve the platform. I think they're going to fix what they can fix right now. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. It's that simple. So, it is now, like I was saying, it is now £459, and I could be wrong on the denomination. If I am, so be it. $459. Check it out. I believe that's going to be that's the HP website in the UK. So check HP over in the UK, or check HP. Try a shot at HP.com over here in the States if you happen to be in the States, and try Hewlett Packard wherever you can get it. If you're in Australia, it's hewlettpackard.au. I'm pretty sure on that. Or who knows, try to get on eBay and import it if you're in the States, or if you're in a country that doesn't necessarily have this. It's actually a pretty decent Windows phone, except it's made by Hewlett Packard. Sorry, HP. It's nothing really personal. Yes, it is. WebOS. So, next up on the news bandwagon, we are going to take Blue. Now, here's the issue with Blue. Oh, poor Blue. Blue is a pretty good company, actually, except for one problem. The phones last year were found out to submit data over to one of their suppliers in China. We already dealt with that one. Blue dealt with that one. Blue got back on the Amazon market and everything was just fine. Well, apparently Blue has done it again, according to the same, and this is where I'll go off the tracks here, and I will apologize this. Yeah. So, the same effing company that did this crap last year to Blue has done it again and has reported the fact that some of Blue's firmware sends its data to China. Now, I don't know exactly where the proof lies in the pudding because I haven't seen any that's been actually published. But because of that, Amazon has now taken all Blue smartphones out of the Amazon store until further notice, meaning Blue, of course, is going to have to supply the proof that it's not doing it, or they're just going to have to take the software out. Now, for those of you who already possess Blue units, what I would do is do one of two things. Either find out the application that's supposed to be doing this and either disable it in the settings, or if you have a way possible of doing it, and this is where I'm going to start promoting XDA again, go to xdadevelopers.com. 9 times out of 10, your phone's going to be there. If you know how, flash a custom ROM or find a package disabler for that particular model that you have. Here's the other issue I would also have with that. If you don't know how, don't try it. 9 times out of 10, those of you listening to my voice right now know exactly where to go. Let's say if you were to get a screen fixed, or likely as not, talk to your family smartphone nerd. Everyone has one. Or if not, send me an email, show@techfilesmedia.com. If I can walk you through it and help you disable that particular application, problem solved. You know, I'm kind of curious to see where the proof in the pudding is for this app, because I'm not seeing it. So either the app has been renamed, excuse me, either the app has been renamed or it is not there. And whoever reported it is full of BS. But when you're a company trying to fork over your own security software and you're accusing somebody else of having flaky security software, if you're in a glass house, don't throw the first stone. Because the next thing you know, someone's going to come by with a dump truck. So what goes around comes around. Be ready for it. So now we're going to go on with a little bit of a miniature review tonight. So I happen to have had and spent a little bit of time with the Moto Z2 Force. Now, I will say this, the Moto Z2 Force is not that bad of a phone if you are in need of a phone, or if you're a Motorola fan, or if you happen to be one that has a smartphone and you have dropped several of them before and broken them because you have butterfingers. That's perfectly understandable. However, if you are a power user, or you are a extreme user of any kind that involves battery operation, or let's say you use your phone quite a bit and you drop the phone and you scratch it, the phone will pretty much be worthless. I'd give it 3 months and you're going to have to take it and have the screen replaced. You're going to have an issue with the battery anyway because it's less than 3,000 milliamp hours. You're not going to have that much screen on time. It does have a top of the line processor. It has a pretty damn good camera. So if you're a Motorola fan and you've dealt with Motorola before, I would recommend pick it up. If you're a power user, stay away from this because it's going to do nothing but cause you frustration. And the reason it caused frustration for me is because the last Motorola phone that I used had a 30-watt turbocharger in the box. This particular one has 15 watts. Just 15. I mean, it heats up when you charge it, but then again, a lot of phones heat up when you charge it. But I think between the screen and the cost of the Moto mods, it's one thing to have the screen now part of the entire display. If something happens to the entire display, you are replacing the entire panel. And then you're going into the hundreds of dollars rather than, I believe it was less than $100 to replace the screen that was on the last two. Okay? It wasn't that big of an operation. You pretty much just peeled the front off, replaced it, and you were done. This one, you have to put it in the shop. They have to take off the display, clean where it was, and then put on the new display. The protective part of this phone, seriously, you can do much better going and getting saran wrap and putting on this. That's how bad I think the front end of it is. But the Moto mods do not affect the operation of the phone. The Moto mods do not affect the operation of the battery. As a matter of fact, a lot of the Moto mods have extra battery juice with it. So, all in all, I would call it a good phone if you're willing to overlook what it lacks. And what I think it lacks is a quality display unit. If they used the same strengths of the protective plastic that they used last year or even the year before, I don't think anybody would have had a problem with it. But whatever they did to this particular one, it sucks. I'm sorry, it just sucks. Not to mention the fact that you still don't have a headphone jack. And there's a lot of people that are not going to be used to the pogo spots in the back. They're not. So I would recommend this phone for someone who needs the phone and would need it to use the utilities from the phone. In other words, they're willing to pay the money for the mods. If all you're going to get is the phone, you can actually go back. I do believe the Moto X Pure may still be available on Motorola.com. And for the money that you would be paying for that phone, you can get a Pure Edition from 2 years ago, have almost the exact same specs, if not more, and probably do yourself a favor in the process. If you're not a big camera fan, I would seriously think about going that road. I can't justify paying almost $800 for something built of that quality. So, c'est la vie. So next up, we are going to talk about Spotify for just a minute. Spotify is not that far away from their initial public offering. Now, what that is Spotify has now agreed. I think they're within 60 days or maybe less. But what's more important on that is the amount of users, that paid users, that Spotify now has. Spotify now has 60 million paid users. Okay? They will be doing an IPO later this year. And everybody was worried because they secured, I think it was $100 million worth of financing a while back. And the payment terms on that financing was, the average layperson, I think the minute they heard about it was, oh, well, Spotify's not going to be in business for that much longer. Wrong. Not only are they still in business, they're thriving. So all you haters out there, yay, you lost. Spotify now has 60 million paid users, and they're going to be going on an IPO. So I'm going to guess right off the bat, I'm going to say Spotify is going to have an IPO that's going to look somewhere along the lines of the way Facebook's did. I'm going to say you're looking at a minimum, and I haven't even looked. I haven't even messed with this otherwise. So if I'm extremely wrong, I'm sorry in advance. I've got the crystal ball out. I've got Ed's Magic 8 Ball, and I'm going to say this company is going to be valuated at nearly $20 billion. That may be high, that may be exorbitant, but at this particular point, if you have 60 million customers and they're paying $10 a piece, you're looking at, now, okay, let's take off about 10 million of those, perhaps because they have a promo. They have a promotional offer. So let's take that off. So let's say they're making about, maybe $500 million monthly. So yeah, I would say they're making a lot of money. I mean, including overhead, including paying the licensing fees to everybody. Yeah, I think Spotify is going to be okay. Apparently a lot better than our friends at SoundCloud, who unfortunately I have now heard that they are within 50 days of losing operations. That is pure conjecture because the source I got from that wouldn't even state name or anything else. So take that one with a grain of salt. If SoundCloud is still here 3 months from now, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. So that's what I think of that. I really don't think that anybody's going to be losing their shirt anytime soon in the major application world. Apparently everybody has enough funding. Everybody has everything that they're supposed to be right now. Speaking of everything they're supposed to be, not only does Spotify have 60 million paid customers, but it appears to be that they are now going to start fiddling with podcasting. We have submitted this podcast to Spotify. I don't anticipate hearing anything from them until later this year and possibly as early as next. The reason being is because obviously it's Spotify. They have 60 million customers and we're just a little speck on the windshield. So we'll see what happens. We really will. So we're going to take ourselves out of the application world right now and out of the bashing one particular smartphone, and we're going to come back to the Windows soapbox, so to speak. Now, a lot of people were expressing dismay and disappointment at this particular bit of news, but apparently T-Mobile is going to stop support for their Windows Phone app as of the 25th of August. Now, it's not like none of you saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming? I think anybody that had a Windows phone saw this coming from at least 3 miles off and tried to pretend like they didn't see it from a distance of 10 miles away. Here's my question to you. Do you see T-Mobile having any Windows phones whatsoever in their inventory? Answer, no. The last major Windows phone release, well, wait, it might have been T-Mobile. However, and I don't even think this went under a complete launch, the last T-Mobile phone that was supposed to have launched was supposed to have been it was supposed to be based on the Idol, or it was supposed to be based on, it was either based on the Alcatel One Touch Idol, or it was supposed to be based on ZTE. It was one of them. I'm not quite certain, but there is no major carrier that has any Windows phones in store, with the possible exception of maybe Verizon. I don't see any one of the 4 U.S. carriers possessing a Windows phone. If this year, then never, honestly. And it's because Windows Phone has started and stopped so many times. You've had Windows phones, they'll start, they'll have issues, they'll start again, they'll have issues some more, they will work on the software, it might have 1 or 2 more issues after that, and the next thing you know, they decide to change the whole effing operating system. That's what happened in Windows Mobile 6. That's what happened in Windows 7. That was one of the reasons why they did the absolute abrupt cluster F of the Windows 8 switch and then the 8.1 switch. And then I don't think I can find the right, coherent, non-explicit words for what I think from the 8.1 to 10. It was a cluster. Complete dumpster fire. Hit the fail button, smash it down, break glass, you're in trouble. If anybody didn't believe that they could see Windows Phone going down in flames from a year out, all you had to do was look at one of Michael Fisher's videos back before he ever left Pocket Now, having to do with the 950 XL. That review had one title. One word title. Nope. That was done. You might as well have just, okay, let's just sit Windows Phone down. Okay, cool. Okay. Where's the Moab? That one, yeah, that 22,000 pound bomb. Why don't you go ahead, bring it over a little more. No, a little bit more. Okay. Drop it. Where are we going to put the laser? Oh, yeah, the Windows Phone. That's pretty much what they did. So, thanks to Stephen Elop, thanks to everybody at Microsoft who wanted to put out an absolutely useless product, you did it. Windows Phone is about as close to as officially dead, without someone just saying, just old yeller it, take it out back, shoot it, and bury it. And I'm sorry to say this, because Windows Phone 10, or Windows 10 Mobile, whatever it is, it's an excellent, the concept was an excellent concept. Some of the phones were brilliant. I would love to get me hold of a Nokia Lumia 1020. If anybody has it and anybody just wants to send it here, by all means, show at techfilesmedia.com. I will welcome it with open arms. Make sure it's unlocked. But, I mean, it's just phones like Lumia 1020. Phones like the Lumia Icon. Those were killer phones. A lot of people don't think so. I do. Hell, even the 950 and the 950 XL were killer in specs. It's just too bad the software was an absolute dumpster fire. It was embarrassing. And when you have review videos with one word in the title and it says, nope, you're done. Next. But anyway, we'll go from there. Now, here comes the other bit of fun. So, T-Mobile is going to stop support for the Windows Phone 10 phones themselves. Apple seems to be in a little bit more trouble. You'll have to excuse me for a second. So, Apple had a lawsuit against it from a family claiming that one of their customers using their phone caused the death of someone in their family. I have all the sympathy in the world for this. Guys, whatever you're doing, it is not worth using the phone while trying to drive the car. Put the damn phone down and drive the car and get to where you need to go. Having said that, they said that... Oh, that's a separate one. Excuse me. That one is still actually being fought. But it is... I don't know if it is or it isn't in part with the other lawsuit about FaceTime. So, Apple had a class action suit going back all the way to the 4S and the 5 having to do with FaceTime. Now, this occurred right about when the iPhone 6 was coming out. So, Apple kind of let one of their security certificates expire. And the FaceTime application basically broke. And the only way to fix it was to pretty much either find a way to replace the certificate or replace the phone completely. There was no way to save this other than spending money. Well, a lot of customers didn't like that. So a lot of customers sued, and it turned out to be a class action one. Apple tried to get out of it today, I think, in two of the worst ways you can ever try to get out of a lawsuit. This was like literally taking your crankyaker, stepping on it with golf shoes, and then repeating the process. And then after you were done, you tossed a live electrical wire on it. You don't do that. You can't say, well, we never meant it as a feature. You've promoted FaceTime as a feature on every phone since the 4. You have included it as a free part of the service since the iPhone 4. Your excuses didn't wash. They were full of BS. I think any judge is going to listen to that argument and is not only going to not dismiss the case, you probably just lost the case. Whoever's handling your public affairs, really? And I know who it isn't because they're no longer in office after 10 days. Way to go, Slaramucci. Managed to lose his job in 10 days' time, but I'm not going political on this. Whoever's handling PR for Apple and Microsoft, for that matter, take a little bit of an education, common sense, okay? You had these two applications. They've been available since the iPhone 4. You've included them since the iPhone 4. Hell, they were on the master presentation for the phone. Don't play like these customers are stupid. They're not. If this thing catches wildfire in a bad way, you're screwed. You won't have to worry about the next billion. You're screwed. Settle with these people. Just give them new phones and get them out of your hair. You're a big boy, Apple. You know how to handle this. Now, I know that might be what Steve Jobs would have done in the past, but as you can tell, we are not in the Steve Jobs era anymore. There will be parts of his legacy that will go on for years, perhaps even decades. But guys, it won't go on for decades if you don't remember to treat your customers the way you used to treat them. Which happens to be why I have both, well, most of your product category sitting in front of me, one of which is handling this podcast. And of one of which absolutely kind of sucks right now because it's your device that I'm having issues putting my rundown on for my audience. So guys, there's the main reason for the show right here. This is what's called a dose of common sense. This is what certain OEMs, manufacturers, and overall people need in their lives. Welcome to that planet. So next up we're going to go to our buddies that are in yellow. whether they be violating veteran affairs or they be violating the Disability Act of a veteran and forcing one of their salespeople to quit. I'll talk about that one off the air. Or whether you're just having bad luck and need a little bit of extra cash to get yourself going. So remember, we were talking about the Charter and Comcast and Sprint negotiations. Basically, they wanted to partner up with Sprint to increase their infrastructure and to improve Sprint's infrastructure in order to offer something like an MVNO. Perhaps maybe a merger might have been involved. After the negotiations, Sprint offered to complete a merger with Charter Communications. One problem with that I was seeing blunt force clear, and Charter did not like the fact that after the merger, SoftBank would retain majority share in the merged corporation. No. Charter would not have done that for all the tea in China. The cable business is too much of a treasure to relinquish. And Charter is not as stupid as others, because there's one that after their merger is complete, they're going to split back in two. Once again, that's like, let's stick a piece of dynamite in a ketchup bottle, and let's light that ketchup bottle while your hand's closed. That ain't going to get you anywhere either. So, there's that. Sprint, your only hope right now is a merger with T-Mobile. Or if you're looking for Warren Buffett to just come in and buy Sprint. And I'm telling you, if Warren Buffett comes in there and buys Sprint, the management ain't going to stay in place. And there's one particular one in San Antonio that I hope doesn't stay in place. That one was for you, CS. Miss Ramirez. Grow a brain. So, let's go and fade back on the day. Charter says it has no interest in Sprint. Sprint's only hope at this point is T-Mobile. Apple has more lawsuits than you could possibly shake a stick at it. Couple of them over their FaceTime application. Get a pair of big boy britches on, Apple, and just settle this one out. You don't need this clouding your vision. You are deep, deep, deep into iPhone 8 territory and iPhone 7S and 7S Plus. Spotify, good on them with 60 million subscribers and heading for that IPO. Now remember, I quoted it was going to be about 15 billion valuation, so look out. And of course, we have the discount going on the HP Elite X3, which is now £459. If you're in the UK and you're listening to my voice, go get this thing while you still can. And the BS story about the college football player loses his scholarship over a YouTube channel. NCAA, UCF, you really, really need to start thinking seriously and with some common sense. So, will common sense break out in the world in a single day? I don't think so. But over time, maybe. And, of course, blue. So, once again, blue is no longer on the Amazon Marketplace. The reason being is because the same security firm that called them out last year for a vendor called Shanghai Adapts has now accused Blue. Basically, it's CryptoWire. That was the company that did this crap last year. That's the company that's going to be doing this crap this year. CryptoWire, of course, has its own little security system that it wants to forward and hack. You know, like I said, if you're in a glass house, don't throw the first stone, please. Because all it's going to do is take somebody coming by on a cliff with a dump truck, and your house is going to be splintered. This isn't a revelation of shock findings, but I tell you what, why don't you show us where the application is? Show us. I don't care if it's a news conference. Hell, I'll come to watch this thing. Show me where this application is sending anything anywhere that it's not supposed to be sending. And hell, I'll get on the bandwagon right now. But until you got something to show, and your security software isn't the immediate solution, in other words, you're not doing this just to promote your own security applications, are you? I think we all know the answer for this, but we'll find out. So, hopefully Blue will get out of this particular situation. And Blue, if somebody from your marketing team is listening to me at all, if you can see your way, if you want to send me a sample phone that I can go through and find out where these supposed applications are, I'd help you. So we'll see what happens on that one. Guys, it's been a real pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are going to conclude our dose of common sense for this evening, this morning, Tuesday, April 1st, 2017. April, what the hell? August 1st, 2017. I wish it was April. I wish it was April. I would have still had a somewhat paying job right now. Don't worry. I do have a job. I'm just waiting on the start date. That's all. But they're taking their time about it. Guys, don't worry about me. Thank you. Don't forget to send in your home screens. You have until Wednesday midnight to do that. And yes, I mean midnight around the world, no matter where you're at. Send me a home screen, Android or iOS. We're going to go just like we're going to plan on it, okay? Show at techfilesmedia.com. Follow me at TechFiles or TechFilesMedia. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, digitalpodcast.com, Podcast Addict, TuneIn.com, SoundCloud.com, Pocket Cast. And of course, none of this is possible without Spreaker when we thank them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that concludes our business for the morning. So wherever I happen to be, whether it's your car, your home, or your ears, I thank you very much for listening. Y'all have a wonderful evening or morning or whatever you have. And we will talk to you all. If nothing breaks, the next show will probably be on Thursday, if nothing breaks. But you never know. I haven't seemed to have kept that rule since I've started the podcast. So why stick with that now? And we may end up doing one or two of them live, and perhaps one or two of them with a coast host. Yeah, there you go. Words are hard. It's something in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. My name is Ed Maudlin. I am part of Tech Files, and I'm trying to make your technical life filled with common sense. Take care, everybody. Now, I bet you want to know the best way to contact us here. The good ways to contact us here is to send us an email at show@techfilesmedia.com, TEKFILESMEDIA.com. Or follow us on Twitter at TechFiles or at TechFilesMedia. And we can be followed on Instagram at TechFiles or at TechFiles Media. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, and of course, none of this would be possible without our host at Spreaker. Thank you.